lifestyles, to create new templates, and to shatter everything that man believes today is the way of living. And that's a tough challenge. And the reason that's a tough challenge is because we have to start with ourselves. And there's no bigger life challenge than looking at yourself in the mirror and actually asking the question who you are. Being a twin flame, we have to live in this dimension, we have to live in this reality, but we create our own reality that is different. We have our own 3D jobs, we have our own things that we need to comply with, to satisfy, to meet, to pay, but we're happy with what we have, and we're happy to help others and to encourage others to change the way they live, to find themselves. We're sometimes triggers for others. We bring others to a place of...
Deane, where it was recorded?
This is recorded in Bukovar in the summer of 2016, along the River Danube.
Yes. And who are you?
I'm Deane,
Yes.
and
Are you rector of Holistic Autopoetic University?
the new rector of the Holistic Autopoetic University here in Osijek. Thank you, Ante. And I'm a man that's lived his life. I'm a man that's lived his life, not necessarily always in freedom, but freely. And that's the essence of what life is about, to live life.
Yes.
I've never had a guide or any sense of where I'm going or what I'm doing. I've just followed my heart. But there are times in my life where the ego succeeds, where the ego overcomes, where we become locked into what society expects us to be, what other people's families, and this is normally through relationships. When we go into relationships, we become vulnerable, we become accepting of the other person's situation, and we start to go through we start to go through everything that we've gone through with respect to our truths and our realities about relationships with our own family. And for me, it's been very interesting through my life because I've always had relationships with different cultured women, Catholic, Orthodox, Russian, Croatian, and living in all these different countries around the world, I have such a global perspective of everything, that we need to be free, to be able to really experience everything. I don't have a university degree. I finished my school with one subject, which was English literature. But here I am today, and the life I've lived, I've been the father to 6 children. I have 3 children of my own, 20 years old, 15 years old, 10 years old. And they're living examples of what I would say is a family they're united in love. They're united in their inspiration for each other and their desire to recognize themselves as family and as part of that family. And that love connection is real and it's living. And even though there are 10,000-12,000 miles that separate me from my children and Jesse's mother and her, that connection is there and it's living and it's growing. And we know that separation is an illusion. And that's the spirit within us. And if people can learn to live with that concept of that separation is an illusion and also time is an illusion, then we begin to think things differently. But the issue is really going within yourself and asking yourself what you really want from life. And I can guarantee you the answer is going to be love, peace and freedom. Because that's all we strive for as human beings. That's our birthright. We're free beings. It's only governments that say we're citizens or we're an identity. We're not an identity, we're free spirits. And this is through my teachings. It's through life experience that I've gone through of challenging the system, of experiencing the other side of the system and seeing the other side of the corporate world, looking at the darker side of light, because there is light, has every aspect to it, including darkness. And you have to experience the darkness to understand that side of light. Because society, as a society, we look to these places of what are supposedly lightness, the institutions, the church, the schools, the governments, but they're not true light. They're the dark side of light, because they have their own agenda. They have an agenda that's contrary to our agenda. Their agenda is a position of power, it's a position of privilege, it's a position of status, and everything beneath them is inferior. But people need to understand that we empowered these people, and we pay them with our taxes and whatever else we do, and they work for us. And
can we control them?
yes,
How can we control
yes,
them?
we can control them. We can introduce systems that are already available. There's softwares, voting softwares that we can download as populations and say, okay, we have the government today. Each government is an employee. Each government minister is an employee. They have a contract. If you don't perform the task that you agree to do, then you will go to vote, and the citizens will vote on an application, on an app, and they will decide whether the minister works this week, or next week, or the year after, or the week after. So there's no more need for this 4-year term, or 3-year term, or 6-year term. It can be week by week, which is how we work. We work from day to day, week to week, month to month. We have contracts. So why should people in privileged positions be subject to anything different than us? We are all equal. We're all human beings.
What did you design in the Kneževi Vinogrady?
We've created an idea, a vision of unity, of sustainable living, of innovation, of education, of freedom. But freedom in a sustainable environment, freedom in as clean and ecological friendly environment as possible, and it will become the heart of the Tesla Sustainable Village projects that we intend to roll out across the world as time goes by. There will also be an education facility there, there will be an innovation center there, medical research, everything that the current system provides in a commercial way, because governments work commercially, believe it or not. They're only interested in the kickbacks from the pharmaceuticals and the pesticide companies, the big corporate giants. This is how they live. This is how they get rich. They're getting their kickbacks. Political parties decided because of who works where and why they're working there. Remember your HDZ or SDP, you need to vote in this way. This is not freedom. This is control. The reverse is true. We should be in control of our countries. We are the people. We have the power. And all of the revolutions in the past that have started, the Bolsheviks, this is a classic example. Whether that was paid for or not is questionable, but the people stood up, the people overturned the monarchy. And yes, there was chaos, but in the end what's been created, as we see today, over a period of 80, 90 years and now 100 years, where Russia is today. It's taken 100 years for that country to evolve into from a chaos to a world-leading nation. And it had to go through these breakups, the Soviet Union breaking up, the breakdown of communism and all of these things. The same's happened here in Croatia. The breakdown of communism. What comes post-communism?
You have about 100 friends.
Yeah.
In your. Can you explain some way how are you connected and?
People. I started writing. I've never written in my life. I've never been spiritual in my life. But when you're in solitude, part of my healing was solitude, extraction from society, and that's to get to know who you are. And after 2 weeks with yourself, you get to know who you don't like. and the aspects that you don't like, and this is where you start to work on them, and it takes time. But the everyone of the people that I'm connected to, very few are from my life. Most people that I'm connected to are through my work, through delivering the message that I deliver, and that's my message. It's not a message from anywhere else. You know, I don't like to put messages of God or messages of angels. It's my word. They're my words. So it's from my source, my connection with Earth, and with all the consciousness. And people are inspired by that. So I lead by example, and that's how I've always lived. That's how I've managed business, by leading by example. I can go to for example, I could take this pillow as an example. I want to understand how this is made. I want to know what's inside of it to make it to understand its core, and if I can help somebody to make it better, or to refine it in a way that our clients would appreciate it better, then I will. My focus is on the quality of the relationship with the people and what they're creating. And I'm just reminded of something that I discovered a few days ago, and it was a message from a dear connection of mine. She wrote, "Be happy, love what you do, and do what you love." And that says it all.
Yes.
And I said to you earlier, pleasant days and pleasant nights. This is what we seek.
Yes. You recognize that our Pauna is starting with top-down approach, and you prefer bottom-up.
Yes, bottom up. Bottoms up, that's what we say when we're drinking a drink in the UK.
Yes.
Through my life experience, I've learned that to be successful, we need to communicate at a way that people can understand us and we can understand them. And this is a grassroots approach. We say in England, it's a grassroots approach, which means we walk alongside our people. We walk alongside our mentors. We don't put anybody on a pedestal. You know, I've worked for multimillionaires and billionaires, and I've met lords and ladies. They're all to me first name, Christian name terms, and I won't bow down to that elitism. If we can understand that our ego works in that top-down mentality, which means we can use various terminologies: a dictator, a controller, these words. If we're down here, we turn the triangle upside down. We're growing with everything. Everything is growing from grassroots. And this is the tree of life. Everything comes from the roots. Everything that we do needs to start from the beginning.
So hearts and minds of every person.
Body, soul. It's this interconnection, interdependency.
Yes.
The energy that if nobody likes suppression, nobody likes to be told what to do, and that's the top-down approach. If everyone is happy, there's no need for controllers, there's no need for governments, there's no need for systems, there's no need for everything. And I do see the education of the future as without professors. It'll be virtual. There will be mentors there that understand the world, that understand life, that understand the connectivity between the students. I see classes of mixed age groups, from kindergarten kids to high school students working in the same classrooms, because it's integration. There's no competition. Everyone's the same, and this is the future. And when we can take every war in the world, take money out of the equation, and what are you left with? We get on. Everyone gets on. After every war situation or every catastrophe or after every horrific event, who are the people that pull everything together? It's the people. It's not the government. It's not the ministries. It's the people. Every crisis that you see, even the Mexico earthquake the other day, who were there first? The people. So the people have the power. We just have to remember that we have that power. And it's the suppression from the laws are the biggest suppressor. It's the controlling mechanism. You can't do this because of this.
But we can control them.
We can control them.
Yes.
And we have to remember we do control them.
Yes.
We do control them.
But now is fear, and
Yes.
it's a great problem.
Fear is this top-down mentality.
Yes.
And in every country in Europe that I can see so far, there is a new breed of politician coming in, younger. We cannot fix this system. This system is broken. And we can't keep trying to fix that wheel. We have to make a new one. And it has to start today. And it starts with the kids. It starts with the teenagers of the world that are open.
And retired persons too, yeah?
Yes. Like the two minds.
Yes,
because the gap is this middle bit.
Yeah.
And this actually goes through, we can all call this a massive transfer of trauma from the last 100 years of fighting and wars and greed and egoistic mentality. It's that what we're going through now. My generation, your generation. I'm 53 in a few weeks' time, so I'm a 60s child. I know what my parents went through. I know what my grandparents went through. They went through wars, the same as here. More recently, nobody's fixed that trauma. I fixed my trauma because of whatever purpose, whatever was inside of me, whatever is with me, allowed me, empowered me to do that. But nations also have to do that. And the only way we can do that is to break it. And it's not an uprising. It's not it's not causing it's not going against the grain of law, because the law of man is we are free. And if you look at the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, we are free citizens.
Did God send you here?
Probably.
Thank you.